what if your dream home turned into a money pit just weeks after closing? That's exactly what can happen if you skip this one critical step.
So let's talk about it in today's video. Let's go.
So what exactly is a home inspection?
So a home inspection is an independent third-party person that comes through the home and looks through it and does a visual inspection of the home and checks everything to make sure that it's working properly.
They cover the major systems like the roof, the foundation, plumbing, electrical, the HVAC or HVAC system, and the attic, which also entails the insulation. So they actually focus on the safety, the function, and the potential future costs in case it breaks down. But they don't really focus on the cosmetic flaws like that chipped paint on that wall.
It'll be marked on their inspection that there's some chipping paint, that the hand railing is loose, that the toilet is loose, but it's not a major sticking point of their inspection. It's just marked in there just for your awareness so that you know that's there. When it comes time to negotiate this kind of stuff with the seller, don't nitpick on little things like that because it's not a major concern. It's just for you to know that the house needs a little TLC that you can do down the road.
Exactly. So why does that matter to buyers, Chad?
So it's a big deal to buyers because you want to know what could potentially be wrong with the house before you happen to buy it. It can also cut off some major expenses with the house before you buy it. You know, if you buy a house and you move in and a week or two later, all of a sudden there's a rainstorm and the roof just comes pouring in rain like it is outside, that could be a real major expense and problem for you after you just spent $300,000 on a house.
Or more.
And now you have to go put on a $40,000 or a $20,000 roof. That's another really big added expense. Or if you have foundation problems, foundations are not cheap to fix. Those can run you $30,000+ to fix foundation issues. So an inspector can save you a lot of money just by paying that cheap little inspection price of usually about $500 an inspection. They go through the house, they do a visual inspection, they say, hey, this could be a problem. I'm not a licensed roofer, but you might want to have a roofer come out here and take a look at the roof and make sure that it's okay, everything's kosher, everything is fine with it. But you may have a problem with this roof in the future, or this roof looks perfectly fine to me.
And not only is it going to save you money down the road, it also can provide leverage, if you know what I mean, in order to negotiate those repairs. Or it can actually kind of turn into credits at the end of the day at closing. So we always recommend an inspection done in the house because you never know what those hidden repairs that you need to get done before that final closing date.
And even if you don't ask for any repairs, even if you don't want any repairs to be done, it just gives you a checklist of what could be done or what needs to be done in the house later on down the road after you move in. You know, maybe the furnace is on the little older side, but it still works perfectly fine. You know that you should save up a little bit of money to possibly replace that furnace in 3 to 5 years. You know, maybe that roof still has another 5 years left on it. So it doesn't need to be replaced before closing, but you know, let's save some money to replace that roof in the next 5 years. Stuff like that.
So it kind of gives you a peace of mind to knowing what kind of condition your house is in before you actually own it. So we kind of hinted at what certain things that these inspectors look for, but let's go into more detail about it.
So inspectors look for things like foundation cracks. Foundation cracks are a big telltale sign of what's wrong with the foundation. Is there water coming into the basement? Nobody wants water in the basement. That's a big financial expense to replace everything that's in the basement, to seal that basement up properly, and to install a new sump pump. They look for things like in the attic. Is there enough insulation in the attic to make sure that your house is properly heated and cooled in the summer and winter time? You know, believe it or not, there should be, I believe, 20 inches, 25 inches of insulation in your attic. Most people don't know that. That's like this much insulation in your attic. That's a lot of insulation. Most people's insulation only has like this much insulation when you go up there and look at it. That's not nearly enough insulation that's in your attic. They look for things like carbon monoxide detectors, smoke detectors on every level of the house.
Very important.
They check things like every outlet in your house. They check to make sure that all the outlets are grounded. They check to make sure that the outlets near water sources are GFCI protected. That's per code. They check the big ticket items like Aalia said, like your furnace, your AC, and your water heater. If the appliances are staying behind, like the stove, the refrigerator, and the washer and dryer, they don't really check them, but they'll open them up and then turn them on to make sure that they're running, and they'll note that in their report. They'll just say that at the time of inspection, these items were running and operating within normal parameters.
And then additional add-ons that you can ask the inspectors to check on is the radon levels of the house, which will needs to be running, what, 3 days?
Yeah, so they put out a radon detector in the basement, and they make sure that the basement's all sealed. They ask the homeowners not to touch the detector, and they ask the homeowner not to open any windows down there or doors to the basement. And the radon tester stays on there for 3 days. And usually they put that down there 3 days before the inspection, and then the third day during the inspection, they'll turn that off and they'll check the tests.
And then they also check mold, especially if there is a leak in the basement and you want to make sure there's no black mold being brewed or even there already. Having black mold is not a good thing, especially for your health. And if you already have an underlying health issue, it's just going to exacerbate it a little bit more. Sewer scopes, making sure that is all cleared, and also pests. You don't want to have ants or cockroaches already in your house. I mean, granted, you can't control that. However, they can check for those, so you can be prepared to fumigate it before.
Termite inspections are a big thing. If you have a VA loan, termite and wood destroying insects, you have to have one of those inspections done for your VA loan. Mm-hmm. So we have to get a home inspector that does those tests for you for your VA loan.
So we covered what those inspection reports cover, but what isn't covered during those home inspections? So what doesn't really cover is what they cannot get to. So that means that they can't tear down the walls to go into the walls to see that black mold in there unless it's already on the surface of those walls or ceilings. They can't test everything, otherwise they're going to be there for days on end.
They can't break up the cement in the basement to make sure that the water pipes under the house are working properly. So if there's a leak under the house, if there's water backing up under the house, they can't test that for sure to make sure that that's all working properly. If there was previous fire damage in the house and it's now covered up by drywall, they can't tell that. So if you're doing remodeling later on in the house, I've had this happen before where clients called me and said, hey, we're doing some remodeling and we noticed that the 2x4s and 4x6s are charred. Do you know that there was a fire damage in this house before? I said, I did not know that. It was not disclosed to us when we bought the house or when you bought the house. Inspectors wouldn't know that unless it's disclosed to them and unless they can visually see it. Inspectors, they don't, like Aalia said, they don't tear things apart. They don't really move a lot of stuff. So if sellers really want to hide something, they'll put like a big heavy storage containers and shelving in front of stuff so that inspectors can't get back there and check it.
So overall, it's not a pass or fail report. It is just information for you to make the smart decision to, go forward to protect yourself.
An informed decision. So Aalia, how do we use these reports once we get it back from the home inspector? We
throw it out. I'm just joking. So how you use these reports, the information that this inspector provided, again, they are going to find everything wrong with that house, regardless if it's a newly built house or it was in a pre-existing house, just because that's their job to find that information for you. So you're going to focus on the major safety issues and the expensive repairs, the HVAC system, the furnace, the what's it called, the ceiling, the roof, the ceiling of the house.
I mean, the roof is on the ceiling.
I know.
Covers the ceiling.
Technically.
Yeah.
So the roof and how long that roof is going to last. So that's one of them. So can you tell us another aspect of how to use this report?
Use the report as a guide to help you negotiate with the seller for any closing cost credits, or to ask the seller to make these repairs before closing. If there's something that's really important to you that you really want fixed before closing, like let's say maybe the handrails going up to the front door are missing or need to be replaced because they're deteriorating, and you really need handrails to help you get up to the front door, and that's a deal breaker for you to buy the house, maybe we just say to the seller, these need to be replaced before closing, or we just have to back away from the deal. Most sellers will say, okay, we'll have those replaced. We'll do that ourselves, or we'll get somebody professional to do that for us. Or ask for a credit, and you can do that yourself later on down the road after you buy the house and move in. That's always an option as well. Now,
you can also use it for a guide for a future maintenance. So let's say you are just using it for your information, to put a pin on the certain repairs that you need to get done within a certain time limit. That is a guide for you. So let's say you buy a house, you do the inspection, but you're not asking for any repairs. However, you're using that guide to focus on those major repairs that need to be done maybe 3-4 years later down the road. So one, you can save the money that you need to replace that item. Let's say a roof is $10,000. It's like, you know what? I don't really need it to do it now, but I will have 4 years to do it. So I'm going to start saving and having a fund for that specific thing to be replaced. So use it as your future reference. So we talked a lot about what it entails to do an inspection and how to use that guide for a future maintenance reference kind of thing. But how can an inspection report help save a deal, Chad?
So if your inspection finds a basement foundation issue and you don't want to deal with it yourself, but the seller doesn't have the funds to make that repair, say, but it's not an immediate issue. Let's say, there's a little water coming in the basement, but it's nothing major. Like, you can live with it for now and you can get it fixed down the road. You can ask the seller, hey, Mr. or Mrs. Seller, can you just give us a credit for that foundation issue? We'll get an estimate for how much that'll cost to get it fixed down the road. And let's say that repair costs $10,000. Say, Mr. or Mrs. Seller, will you give us a credit for $10,000, and we'll get that fixed ourselves down the road after we close. And as long as the seller agrees to give you that credit, then you get it fixed yourself down the road.
So again, this and having an inspection will protect you in the long run, especially when you know what kind of shape your property or future property is in. So it would definitely protect your investment before you even commit to even purchasing the property.
If you guys have any questions at all about buying or selling here in the Kenosha area, make sure that you grab one of our guides down here in the description of the video. We have buyer, seller, and relocation guides that will help you through the process. And make sure you reach out to us at 262-331-1621 anytime that you have any questions.
And drop down in the comments of what you would like to see us go over, any kind of step during the buying process that you want more details about. So drop down that idea and we can maybe take a look at it and help you understand it more.
Do a video about it later on down the road. So why is skipping an inspection such a risky thing to do, Aalia? We're seeing a lot of buyers skip an inspection, especially in today's market right now.
I mean, I understand why the buyers are skipping inspection, just to make their offer a little bit stronger for that seller to accept it. However, it's risky because when you waive that inspection, it's pretty dangerous, just because there can be hidden issues that you are not in a position financially to replace it. So let's say that foundation crack is literally because the foundation is breaking and off a little bit askew with the house, but you can't fix it. However, it's an immediate threat and you need to replace it as soon as you can. But if you don't have the money, you cannot fix it, and then the problem will just get worse.
Or even if you do have the money, that $10,000 could potentially wipe out your savings or your retirement account if you have to pull out of your retirement account. And guess what? You saved your house, but your savings is gone now. So if another big thing happens to happen, you're just SOL now.
Exactly. But I mean, definitely with the inspection in comparison to the actual repair of that roof or that foundation repair, it is definitely a cheapest insurance policy during the buying process, because it will ensure that you will be able to know and be able to be prepared for those big repairs. So buying a home is exciting and can be very overwhelming. So a home inspection is just one of the steps in the process, and that's where having the right agent matters. We walk our buyers through every stage, and including how to make the most of the inspection as well.
We have people just like you reaching out to us every single week about buying, selling, investing, and relocating here in the Kenosha area. So if you have any questions at all, make sure that you call or text us at 262-331-1621, or grab one of our free guides down here in the description of the video.
We would love to help you with your purchase in the future.
We hope they have a fantastic rest of the day, and we'll see you on the next video. You laugh at me the whole time?
Yes.
Buying a home is definitely exciting and overwhelming at the same time.
Ah! Something touched me!
There's a nice bee. I think there's a hive around here somewhere.
How can it save a deal? Or use it to save a deal? How can a home inspection save a deal?
Start it again.
I know. I was trying different things. Nothing was sticking. And he's my grounding for major of the life. Never mind, just cut that out. That was horrible. That didn't really go as planned.
They check the big ticket items, like Aalia said, like the...
Nope.
I don't know where I was going with that.
I don't know. Foundation cracks, extra, like major expense, roof age.